Welcome to Government Contracting Weekly, sponsored by AOC Key Solutions Incorporated. Government Contracting Weekly is the only television program devoted exclusively to the competitive and dynamic world of government contracting. A world where coming in second place is not an option, but where principle-centered winning is the only approach.
Good morning and welcome back to Government Contracting Weekly, where each week we aim to bring you strategies and techniques to help you win a government contract. This morning, though, we're looking at a little different aspect, and it's to address the chasm between industry and government. On the industry side, we'll have with us Dan Allen. He's the President and CEO of CACI. And from government this morning, we have Paul Williams, who's the Chairman of the Armed Services Board of Contract Dispute and Appeal Resolution. So let's look at both sides of the aisle and let's get right to it. Today we're blessed to have with us Dan Allen, the CEO of CACI. Welcome, Dan.
Good morning.
And Dan, you're in a unique position because unlike a lot of companies in the region that have had some issues and problems with growth in this era of austerity, you've had about 6% recently and 21% year to date. To what do you attribute such growth?
Yes, the company has performed very well, and we attribute our growth to where we're positioned in the market. The U.S. government is our primary customer, and we are an information solutions and services company. And as the government looks at taking on its large challenge, whether it's mission capabilities or how they run that large enterprise, information is a critical tool.
And you have a reputation for not just your information, but being very agile for a large organization. How do you remain agile, remain nimble when you're such a vast entity?
Yeah, it's a key focus of how we run our business. We're focusing on moving decision-making out to the edge. So our program managers are the center of our world, our center of gravity for us. We work real hard to ensure that they have the ability to make decisions and take care of clients, meet clients' needs.
So they're also taking a lot of ownership, which is obviously good then.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Dan, in terms of your growth, a lot of that has been due to M&A activity. I know you've had about 57 acquisitions in the last 20 years or so. What are you looking at the moment? Are you looking to acquire more companies?
Our primary focus for growth is around organic growth, but we do use M&A as an aspect of long-term growth. And you're correct. We are very aggressive in the M&A area, looking for companies that can expand our market presence, our capabilities, leadership talent, really help us ensure that we continue to grow in the out years.
And then for our audience, if there are any smaller companies watching or somebody who would like to be acquired and somebody who's watching this morning and says, I'd like to be acquired, what's a good fit for CACI? What should they bring to the table for you currently?
We tend to look for companies that have capabilities in growth markets, so areas where we don't have capabilities, we don't have client relationships.
Such as what one?
Cyber, healthcare, special operations is an area we're focusing on.
Which the government is too. That's
Correct.
Becoming more precision oriented.
And I think that's a good indicator of where are we trying to expand our capabilities. We're very much aligned with the U.S. government and their strategy.
Dan, what are some of your greatest challenges? You've got a big job there running CACI. What do you look at and what is of greatest concern right now?
Well, I'm excited about my new role and very humbled to be the President and CEO of CACI. And as I look to the future, continuing the great performance we've had is my focus. And ensuring we have the right people is #1 priority.
So in terms of right people, for our audience watching, who's the right people? Because I know that you're growing, you need more people.
Well, we're ensuring and trying to attract the right leadership, but we also have over 400 open positions. So these are positions that people could fill today in the areas of intelligence and cyber, healthcare. And those would be the primary.
Some of the growth areas that you mentioned earlier, and you need the depth of expertise there. Yeah. You're also an engineer, I understand, by background, so you understand the content of the organization. Are you looking for people that have those kind of broad, horizontal technical skills in engineering as well?
Absolutely, and large needs for engineering talent, software talent, mission domain analysts are also very much in need.
Well, that's good for our audience to know, because I know a lot of people are, concerned with sequestration. I know there's a lot of layoff notices going out, so at least CACI is somewhere that people could turn to.
Absolutely.
Dan, CACI has a legacy of actually a great brand, a great reputation, but there are also many changes in the marketplace. What are you doing, and how are you sort of shifting to address those now?
Yeah, the company has had some great performance over the last 50 years, and what we've been able to do is adjust as the market's adjusted, and that's one of my key challenges, is to continue the legacy of my predecessors. The changes in the market have been drastic over the last couple of years, really how our clients are buying and the competitive landscape.
And how the customers are buying in terms of IDIQs?
Correct.
Yeah.
Years ago, or not that long ago, they would buy in single awards, in some cases very large contracts and with limited competition. Today they're buying in smaller chunks, faster schedules, and almost exclusively with competition.
Right. And in terms of the competition, how have you sharpened the saw? Because you are doing so well. You already talked about your numbers compared to others. What are you doing differently so that people watching should look at their companies and say, I should be doing the same, I should take that leadership tip from Dan Allen?
Well, the first thing that we're doing is really focusing on where we are competing. So we're looking at our addressable market. We're focusing on areas where there are opportunities and where we can win, and we're starting there. Then we're making sure we have the right mission and domain knowledge, awareness of the client, the right capabilities, and then we're packaging that in innovative ways that we believe bring value to the client.
And looking at what the client needs rather than just trying to sell what CACI has.
Correct.
Yeah, always their need, always their mission.
And cost is a critical component. We maintain a constant view and look at our cost to ensure that we are lean, and then as we go into those, we're bringing innovation, added value to the client.
So efficiencies and being cost competitive.
Correct.
So Dan, you've stayed on top of things because you've been able to address to some new market needs, but there are a lot of other things on the horizon beyond immediately now. What are you looking at? And you're agile enough to be able to adapt to those. So how are you trying to guide the organization for the future?
Our focus is on information, how people gather information, store information, and ultimately use information. So information management, the cloud infrastructure, mobility, and tools to enable people to be mobile while they're using information are the technologies that we're focusing on so that we can ultimately bring those to our clients.
So migrating to the cloud is going to be still an issue in the future, even though it's hot today?
I believe so.
Yeah, and continuing mobility. Is that mobility throughout every customer you have in the government?
I believe all of our clients are looking for ways that they can be more agile, they can move faster, they can support their employee base, and mobility brings the tools to enable that.
And it'll solve the traffic in this region. That's what we're hoping, right?
Yes.
Dan, a critical part of any government contractor success is understanding the mission of their client. You do that extremely well at CACI. For our audience, can you give them some tips on what do you do at CACI as a leader, and what do your team members do and the division heads to make sure they're really staying on top of the mission?
Yeah, understanding our client's mission is critical to our success and an integral part of our strategy. And it has multiple components. Pursuing individual opportunities is the foundation. We really work on broader relationships. Those relationships include industry outreach programs, include investments in the small business relationships, investment in development of people, such as the DoD Fellows Program, and community outreach. So we're focusing on a broad spectrum of needs that our clients have to build close partnerships that help us as we go forward and pursue individual programs.
And then you're going to win the best and the brightest, because people like community outreach and they like all the things that you mentioned.
Well, people want to do business with people they know and trust.
Yes, good people.
Good,
yes. Dan, you are a $3.8 billion success story at CACI. What are the keys to winning? What priorities do you put for your people?
There are several aspects of our success that we continue to focus on. First, our market positioning and staying aligned with our client needs. We focus on program performance and ensuring we're delivering our commitments to our clients and making them successful. We focus on cost and how do we maintain a value proposition for our clients that are important.
Cost efficiencies across the board.
Correct. And then ultimately bringing flexibility and agility to our clients, we believe helps them in that success. And above all else, we focus on our ethics and integrity. It's a key component of our culture and something we reiterate and reinforce every day.
I think that comes across when you talked about also your commitment to the community and what your people, you want the right kind of people with the right kind of sense of commitment to the government. It's
who we are, and we believe the culture that people want to do business with.
Dan, many members of the audience watching today have of course completed proposals. Everyone has in the government contracting industry, and it's our main method of communication with the government. But at CACI you've had more wins. To what do you attribute that, and what's innovative about your proposal approach?
We'll have a very disciplined process. We focus and start with making sure we get ahead of the opportunity. We interact and have a comprehensive view of what the client's needs are, and we develop a differentiating, innovative approach that we believe brings value to the client. And we work really hard in our proposal to state that value in ways that they can evaluate in the competition.
So you're shaping the RFP up front, and then it's the communication that's dot on to what they want then?
Absolutely.
Yes.
We also focus very hard on ensuring that we are competitive and that the value proposition is not only the technology, but the cost or the price associated with that.
So cost effective, shape the RFP, and you mentioned competition, lots of black hat reviews.
We spend a lot of time understanding our competition, and ultimately when we bring all that together, we make the decision to pursue an opportunity. We do what we need to take to win.
So you're winning from a really thorough approach, putting money and time and effort to getting what the government wants.
Disciplined and focused.
Disciplined and focused. So thank you. Dan Allen's success has been really tremendous, and you're continuing that legacy at CACI. So thank you for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Hillary.
This morning we have with us Barbara Ashe. She's the Executive Vice President of the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce. And as we're all looking towards Thanksgiving and thinking of family time, special time, and giving thanks, we all need to focus on doing the right thing. And Barbara's here to address that this morning.
Did you know that the federal government has a minimum 3% service-disabled veteran business goal, and they have never met this goal? Here we were in 2 wars, record defense spending, and we never met this minimum threshold. The Veteran Institute for Procurement, or VIP for short, was developed in 2009 to help arm our vets to win in federal marketplace. It is an educational training program for owners, principals, and C-level executives of veteran-owned businesses. The VIP is a 27-hour, 3-day comprehensive certification program. It is designed for veteran businesses to increase their ability to win government contracts by establishing best business practices. And it is working. 63 of our earliest graduates reported that they added over 1,000 jobs since graduating from the program, and on average have increased the size of their business by 75%. Perhaps even more importantly, 93% said that they changed the way they do business. Who knows how many small businesses and jobs were saved by taking the VIP course? Many of our graduates credit the program with alerting them to potential bad teaming agreements and compliance issues. There are many landmines that can bring down a business, and VIP helps veterans avoid those landmines. 245 veteran-owned businesses nationwide have graduated from the program. It is funded entirely by the Montgomery County Chamber Community Foundation, and the program is offered at no cost to participants. If you want to get engaged with the VIP program, please visit our website at nationalvip.org for more information. With the VIP program, the sky is the limit for our heroes turned business leaders.
Good morning, and now we're going to turn to our segment where we have a special expert with us. This morning I'm delighted that we're joined by Judge Williams. Good morning.
Good morning.
Judge Paul Williams is the chairman of the Armed Services Board of Contract Appeals. And Judge Williams, your role is really very important, particularly for government contractors that are watching this morning, but they may not all be familiar with your role personally and that of the board. So what should they know?
What they should know is that our board is set up to handle post-contract award disputes for procurement contracts from the Department of Defense, NASA, and some other agencies. It's an independent, neutral forum. Our judges have expertise, at least a minimum of 5 years public contract law experience, and provides a process that's relatively inexpensive and quick.
And I remember one of the other issues you mentioned to me is you're geographically accessible because you actually go to where particularly a small contractor may be located.
This is very important. We feel we have a contract duty, which is really a mandate from Congress, and that is to assist a small business. If a small business has a claim that is relatively small dollar value, they cannot afford to come to Washington, D.C. We make it a practice to hear their appeals in their backyard if that's the appropriate place to do it. So it makes it much more accessible.
For all sizes of companies.
All sizes of companies.
Which is very good news for all of our viewers. Thank you. Judge Williams, I'm glad to hear that the environment is better. I'm sure that our contractors will be also. But let's just say, in the worst case scenario, despite all their best efforts, a contract is awarded, they disagree, they're disputing that award. What is the best way they could go about contacting your court, and what do you recommend they do to be successful with your court?
Essentially, to bring a matter before us, you need to have a contract award, and then you need to file a claim. If you have a claim, that consists of a demand for money or demand for contract interpretation or some other remedy under the contract, and you would ask the contracting officer to file a decision where the contracting officer would either agree with your claim or deny it. Once you have a contracting officer's final decision, you must file a timely appeal.
And what is timely? How long is that?
You have 90 days from receipt of the contracting officer's final decision. That will allow us then to proceed. Once you come to us, we have options, and the options are to do litigation, or if you can get both sides to agree, we will do the alternative dispute remedy clauses or alternatives, options, whatever. We are very creative, we're very flexible. If for some reason you need to litigate, we find a number of contractors, particularly small business, are very hesitant to do that. And I would tell people when you sign the contract, you have in fact bought a remedy process, were it, and you shouldn't hesitate to use it if you have what you believe to be a valid claim.
And what about ADRs? Are they increasing or decreasing now, do you think?
They are increasing. Again,
That's
it's
good.
part of that cultural relationship with the parties.
Most of us are aware, Judge Williams, everybody always thinks of the David and Goliath issue. There are finite resources for any government contractor, really of any size. I mean, people think the small contractors may not have the funds, but a large government contractor also doesn't want to spend extraneous funds on litigation. What do you say to any of our contractors watching who may think, well, the government can outweigh and outlawyer anyone?
First of all, I don't agree with that. Both sides are faced with tremendous resource issues, whether it's personnel, money, etc. And that's why the alternative dispute resolution processes work so well, because it's quicker, it's cheaper. But even if you are a large company, it is very expensive. Litigation should be avoided at all reasonable cost. You should look for the business solution. And if you win, but you spend a tremendous amount of money and disrupt your business relationship,
anyway,
everybody is harmed.
Yeah, it's a lose-lose situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to be avoided. But it sounds like that you're providing all the structure to do so, and the ADRs are increasing, so that's making it far more viable to take an alternate route.
Absolutely. We will use our resources in a way that's convenient and flexible so that you can devise a solution. We'll go to your backyard, we will accommodate your schedule, and you need fewer resources because you don't have the burden of legal proof in an ADR. All you have to do is reach a business negotiated settlement.
So that distinction is very important for our viewers, I believe. Yes. So Judge Williams, if the worst case comes and any member of our audience ends up filing appeal, they do go in front of you, they've exhausted any ADR options, what are the 3 keys to being successful in front of your court that you'd like to offer them?
Well, certainly we have a very experienced procurement bar. So for the larger companies, they know how to operate. I would suggest it's the small business that probably need advice.
Need some advice, yes.
First of all, read your disputes clause. That tells you what your rights are. File a timely appeal, which means that you have to have a claim where if it's money, it has to be a specific sum certain.
Within 90 days, you said?
You have to do it in 90 days, but you need to file that claim first with the contracting officer.
Okay.
And it's his decision you would appeal in 90 days. But your claim has to have a sum certain, and if it's over $100,000, it must be certified. And your dispute clause will tell you how to do that. Once you're before us, we have a lot of flexibility to help you. If you were to call our recorder's office, they'd be glad to give you some generic assistance. We won't be your lawyer, but follow the rules. If you see what our rules are, it tells you what you need to do to be timely, and we're always looking to assist the parties to get it right, and we will assist you in determining how quickly we can do it and get you a decision. Win, lose, or draw, you need to get that behind you. Our job is finality.
Finality. And I have to say that I found it very positive this morning, your words, the voice of the government for our audience in terms of really trying to get these resolved and lowering costs and not being a burden to either the contractor or ultimately the taxpayer. Yeah.
We're all taxpayers.
No, thank you. Judge Williams, thank you for joining us this morning, and I hope
My
that you
pleasure.
found this as positive and really some great news in this current economic milieu. You've really given us something positive to focus on. Thank you.
My pleasure.
This morning's Ask the Expert segment features Jim McCarthy. He's the owner and technical director of Key Solutions, and he's perfect to address bridging the chasm. He's worked with an extensive number of government contractors in this region and has seen both sides of the aisle, knows what the government wants, knows about the dialogue, and knows about the issues. So over to you, Jim.
Good morning. Today I will talk once more about the gap between government and the private sector. This gap must be narrowed if together the parties are to overcome their many shared challenges: sequestration, budget Armageddon, fiscal cliffs, debt ceilings, and legislative gridlock. In an effort to close this gap, I will discuss a variety of tidbits and suggestions that some in the contracting community would like to pass on to the government. Here are some things that contractors wished the government understood and appreciated more fully. First, that many contracting officers, program managers, and even competition advocates are gaining a reputation for not returning phone calls and not being accessible to the private sector. Then there's an unwillingness to meet with contractors. And this does not really lessen the likelihood of a protest, but instead actually leads to an unlevel playing field and places all but the incumbent contractor at a competitive disadvantage. Here's another one. Failure to engage contractors in substantive discussions leads to generic proposals. These proposals contain dumbed-down technical and management solutions which, not surprisingly, fail to address compelling problems faced by the government. Here's an interesting one. That disconnects and inconsistencies among RFP sections L, M, and C are arguably the most frustrating and time-consuming burdens imposed on contractors by unsuspecting contracting officers. Does the government know that proposal teams often spend weeks debating the implications and importance of a single comma placement in an RFP requirement? That contractor skepticism is on the rise due to the fear and suspicion that the government is now defining and equating best value with low price in contradiction to the FAR. Next, that government contractors are genuinely perplexed by the government's intention when it requires offerors to respond to an entire 50-page statement of work in a 50-page limited proposal. That if the government truly wants competition, why doesn't it do more to actively encourage it? That post-award debriefs that devolve into platitudes and vague statements from evaluators do not help contractors learn and submit a better proposal next time. That published procurement milestones such as RFP releases and selection announcements often seem to fall into a black hole and fail to emerge for months, if not years. Then there are often little or no credible explanations for the delays. In the meantime, costs mount. Here's another one. that the government's reluctance to release the names of prime contractors bidding for a specific contract actually inhibits small businesses' chances of getting on a team. That the government often forces contractors to read tea leaves to divine what the government really wants. Why can't the government just say, here are 5 problems we want to fix? Now let us hear from industry about their proposed solutions. Next, that it is not necessary for the government to continue to prescribe font size and font type. In today's publishing age, contractors would self-police themselves if the government merely issued a warning that, quote, unreadable text could adversely affect their scores. That it seems punitive and counter to the interests of the taxpayer for the government to eliminate a proposal that contains minor non-compliances, even if the rest of the proposal has exciting technical and management solutions and is otherwise a perfect choice for the government. Here's another one. It would be nice if the government would put an end once and for all to the debate among contractors as to whether they should outline their proposals by Section L or by Section M. That the government should realize, if it doesn't already, that there is relevancy to past performance contracts only if the key personnel bid on the newest procurement had roles on the old ones. That profit is a legitimate motivator for contractors, not a dirty word. That contractors often train for weeks in advance of an oral presentation. Every spoken word and nuance is carefully scripted with a specific purpose in mind. Leading contractors and major contractors do not just fly into town the night before a presentation and proceed to wing it. That there's often an entirely new roster of players after award of a contract than were present during the pursuit phase. Here's another one. That the government's preoccupation with carefully scripted, quote, windshield tours of a government facility is practically a waste of time for prospective bidders. That industry is puzzled why it is that so many proposals are due the day after Thanksgiving, the day after Christmas, or the day after New Year's. These are just a few of the perspectives that industry would like to share with government procurement authorities. Perhaps you work for a contractor and have your own thoughts of what you would like to communicate to your government counterparts, anonymously, of course. Or maybe you work for the government and are puzzled by industry's mystical ways. In either case, we would like to hear from you. So visit our website at governmentcontractingweekly.com. Thank you, Hillary, all yours.
I hope you found this morning's show beneficial. We had with us Dan Allen, the President and CEO of CACI, and Paul Williams, the Chairman of the Armed Services Board of Contract Appeals and Resolutions. They both gave us some ideas as to how we can all bridge the chasm. I hope you're going to have a great week with no chasms in your week, and join us next Sunday morning.
You've been watching Government Contracting Weekly, sponsored each week by AOC Key Solutions Incorporated. Government Contracting Weekly is the only television program devoted exclusively to the competitive and dynamic world of government contracting. For additional information, comments, questions, or suggestions, please write us at governmentcontractingweekly.com.